Right, I think leaving it a week is long enough to mean anyone who doesn't want to be spoilt on how Non-League to Legend ended. I mean, even that's a spoiler. I left it a week. If this is a spoiler for you, I apologise. But we are back in the Non-League to Legend universe, and we're going to have a look around at what's been going on elsewhere in the footballing world. Hello and welcome to the Non-League to Legend FM18 10 years in the future review that's actually happening 12 seasons in the, or 13 seasons in the future, because I forgot to do it at 10 years. Lots of people reminded me, lots of people were waiting for this, so we're going to do it. This is the game paused exactly on where we got to. We've just won the Champions League. I haven't yet retired my manager. I'm going to retire my manager at the end of this video, and at that point I'm going to put a link to the save and where you can download the save down in the description as well. So if you want to download your version of this year's Non-League to Legend save dated 1st of June, the day we won the Champions League, you can do that. And then what I'd like you to do is, in a couple of weeks time, I'll put another video out asking for you to send your saves back to me, or at least some screenshots from your save. And probably 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks down the line, I'm going to do another video where we're going to have a look at how some of you lot got on from this point in the same Non-League to Legend universe. We'll pick out, I don't know, half a dozen probably saves and have a look through to see if people have done it better than I could have done it, or see if people have crumbled and got themselves fired or whatever else they might have done. But enough of that. Let's get into the wider footballing world. So the Premier League, we obviously spent a lot of time looking at the Premier League, so we don't have to dwell too much on this, but I know what people do like to do is have a look to see where their teams might be in the various leagues. So we are just going to have a little drift down through the English league system to see who's in what divisions in 2030, and see if there's any surprises knocking around at any of these levels. I mean, I don't know that there's any huge surprises in the Premier League. The big one, I guess, based on the current footballing landscape, would be Sunderland, but Sunderland have actually not been doing too badly. Oh, actually, they have. They were down in the Championship. It must be back in the Borough when they... At some point, they were challenging us the top half of the table in the Premier League. I don't remember when or where. But yes, the fact that Sunderland are there, I guess that's a surprise. If we jump down to the Championship and have a look at the league table down in the Championship. So Palace, Bournemouth, Middlesbrough all getting promoted again. I don't know that that's necessarily particularly surprising. Are there any teams that we wouldn't expect to be at this level? Posh would probably be one up in the Championship. Billericay are a Championship team. Now there you go. This is one that must have a story attached to it. So Billericay, back at the start of the save, we're in the Ryman League Premier Division. Is that right? What would have been our first season? Why is there no 17-18 season for Billericay? Did that just not exist? So, in the first year of Non-League to Legend... Oh no, because they wouldn't have seen it. So they actually started Non-League to Legend in the Ryman League Premier Division, got promoted in that first year, then immediately got promoted by winning the National League South, then finished 3rd, 7th, and then first in the National League to get promoted. Immediately then got promoted from League 2 as well. Hovered around in League 2 for a little while, establishing themselves. And then won the playoffs in League 1 last year. And are now in the Championship. I mean, that is mad. Gary White, who on earth are you? Have you managed Billericay all the way through? No. So there's been a number of managers. I mean, this fella's managed China. So I need to work out how the Billericay story has happened. So, Glenn Tamplin was good. I mean, they've had multiple managers, so it's nothing to do with the manager. Have they got a rich owner? Have they been throwing money around? Let's have a look at their transfers. Let's go all the way back and see if we can see anything suspect going on transfers-wise. I mean, they've not yet spent a penny. They didn't spend any money until 22-23, when they just spent what they sold. So they sold a player for 400,000 and then spent that 400,000. So there's no financial doping in here at all. They've just, I mean, they've done this at a net transfer profit, I think, until they got to the Championship and then spent some money. But that was the first time they spent any money, really. That is mad that that's happened. There you go. There's a team for you all to go and manage in your version of Non-League to Legend when you get the save. Have a go at Billericay, because that looks like that could be a lot of fun. So back and looking at the Championship table again, There's no one else majorly surprising at that level. So let's have a look at League One. I wonder if there's another Billericay story somewhere. What it means is there must be a big team that's taken a tumble. If we've got a little team that's gone all that way up. So Grimsby have won League One this season. They're in the conference in real life, aren't they? So they're going to be up to being a championship team again. Who else have we got knocking around in here? Burton back down into League One. To have Ebbsfleet up in League One. That seems to be something that happens in Football Manager quite regularly, Ebbsfleet turning into a league team. No, nothing majorly surprising in there, I don't think. League Two. We're now on the lookout for big teams who've fallen down to this level. Has there been a Bolton this year? Because we had Bolton back in FM16 who fell all the way out the bottom of the playable leagues. Fell all the way out of the National League North. They did eventually make their way back in before I took over. Is that Keziah Sterling? Top scorer for Lincoln. Oh, a non-league to legend Hall of Famer. Top scorer, top average rating. Good work, Keziah Sterling. Most man of the match awards as well. What a hero. To help Lincoln get promoted from League Two. Along with Cambridge. Sutton United are up in the league. Are they a conference team? No, are they? What year did we start? No, so they're just a conference team in real life. That's not that surprising. No romantic story there. And nothing, no major. Boston are up in the league. I guess that's a kind of a big deal for Boston to make it up into League Two. And they've kind of shot up over the last few years, it seems. Because it was only 3 or 4 seasons ago they were in the National League North. And then they've made it all the way up into League Two, which is a nice little story for Boston. Looking at the National League, if it wants to load up. So, National League, this is where we're really on the lookout for big teams now. Is there any established league teams down in the National League? No, not really. Let's drop down another division to the National League North. Controversially, Football Manager always confirms that North is better than South, because when you're going down the leagues, the National League North is above the National League South when you use the arrow buttons. So, big teams again. Doncaster down in the National League North. Sorry, I forget we're looking for big teams. Blackpool down here as well. Kings Lynn, who obviously we took over in the stream save over on Twitch. A mid-table National League North Kings Lynn side. We're now managing over on Twitch on Mondays, Thursdays and Sunday nights at twitch.tv/lollujo.fm. No one else but Nuneaton look nearly relegated. And let's have a look in the National League South. There's no real big teams, is there? I mean, I guess if someone's dropped out the playable leagues entirely, I might have missed them. If you're looking for the team you support and you haven't found them yet, obviously let us know down in the comments. Is there anyone big down here? Bath. So obviously we managed Bath fairly early on. They never really... I mean, they kind of reached their giddy heights with us. We got them promoted. Someone else got them relegated. They did go back up again, but came back down again. And that's pretty much been the story of Bath. In fact, where are Alfreton? Alfreton. Have they... Oh, no, they're there. They're up in the playoffs. So how did Alfreton get on after we managed them for that 1 year? Yeah, they never made it out of that league. And we'll go and have a look at our other former teams in a minute. I forgot we could actually look at teams we used to manage as well. But is there anyone else in this level? No. Right, so who else did we manage? In fact, the easiest way to do this is to have a look through my manager profile, because I'm never going to remember every team we've managed in this save. So Alfreton and Bath we've already looked at. Let's see how Oxford have got on. So Oxford are currently 5th in League 2. So where did we manage them? We picked them up here, I think. So we got... Did we get them promoted and then leave before they got relegated? Were we only at Oxford for like a year and a half? Hold on. How long were we at Oxford for? 2 years? Yeah. Wow. Okay. So they got relegated straight away, then got relegated again the next year. So after we got them promoted, they then got back-to-back relegations and had to have two seasons in non-league, and now they're just a mid-table League 2 team. Wow. Poor old Oxford. I hope they're not. I hope I haven't ruined any more teams. Portsmouth. How have Portsmouth got on since we left them? So we picked Portsmouth up here and got them promoted, and they've been an established championship side ever since. Although, have they just been relegated? They've just been relegated now. After we got them promoted in 21-22, they had 8 years back in the championship before they got relegated. So Shashua's still there. We signed him. Have they got any more of our former players still at the club? Let's have a look at their players list. Anyone else we recognise? No. Wow. So he's the one survivor of my time. Oh no, is that Barry Scott? They only went and signed Barry Scott permanently. We need to fix it. I don't know why his nickname. Did we never actually officially give him the nickname? I just kept calling him Barry Scott. He's Barry Scott now. So we had him on loan for those 3 years. He never was as good as he was that year. But then he went on loan to Fulham for a year, then came back to Portsmouth on a free. So Barry Scott became a permanent Fulham player. What happened to the other guy, David Hall? Is he still at Leicester, do we think? No, he went to no, that can't be him. That's David Marshall. David Hall. So is that the guy who was part of the Scott Hall partnership? Yeah. So, I mean, he's turned out better than Barry Scott. I signed the right one. And let's have a little look at Leicester as well. We've kind of been keeping track of Leicester anyway, because Leicester have been in the Premier League with us while we've been at Arsenal. But we'll have a little look. Where are you, Leicester? So, Leicester, we're really looking to see if they've got how many of our players they've still got. So it's a lot of them are still there. Svilar, Kostic, Gasparetti, Portanova, Sandu we had at Arsenal. Jonathan Miller, how did his career turn out? He's 26 now. I mean, he had that one good year after we left, but he's kind of a reserve from now, it looks like, which is a bit of a shame. Marcus Arthur Suto is now fully established as a central midfielder. Whenever we've played Leicester, he's been in central midfield for them. But he's never really looked like a £25 million player, which is what Leicester paid for him the season before I arrived. Moya's another one of mine. There's not many of my players still at the club. Did they sell them on for big money, or did they just turn into total flops? So when did we leave? Is that right? They're players I bought. No, that's the year we arrived, I guess. Because that was Kante on there. Gasparetti I signed. I don't think I signed any of this lot. So where are my players? Where did they go? David Hall was sold instantly, as was Marcus Edwards. There's no major sales on here. I want to see if anyone went on to a really big club. Cesar went to Shakhtar. I think he's back at Newcastle now. We've seen him in the league since. No, it must be a different one who was at Newcastle. 2 Paulo Cesars. Our one is at Shakhtar. Right, any big sales on here? Gardner went to Leeds. Don't even know who Lucas Klimes is. Clearly not one of mine. But they sold him on for big money. Panzo went to Man United. That's kind of a big deal. So Jonathan Panzo's now playing for Manchester United. Any more? Not really. I mean, what that tells me is we didn't really sign anyone who was any good. Because no one went for big money. So we just massively overperformed that 1 year when we got them up into the Champions League, and they've never really got back up to that level again. Well, I think, didn't they win the Europa League? Do I remember them winning the Europa League? They did win the Europa League. Not with me, either. Did they beat us in the final? Am I remembering? Did we lose the Europa League to Leicester? No. So we lost back-to-back finals against Atletico Madrid and Man United, and then Leicester won it the following season because we lost to Atletico Madrid, I think, if I remember rightly. You lot will let me know down in the comments if I'm wrong. So, they're your Europa League winners, anyway, over the years. So, Arsenal won it twice before I arrived, and then we got to those 2 finals. Champions League, obviously we know who's won that this year, because we won it, thus ending the save. There's your spoiler. That gave you the warning of way back at the start of the episode. Previous to them, though, it started off being a bit of a Premier League story. Man City, Man United, Man City. Then Barcelona, Monaco winning a Champions League. Chelsea, Atletico, Paris Saint-Germain. Interesting that Monaco won it before Paris Saint-Germain did. Leverkusen, Leipzig, Bayern. So the German league has kind of come into its own a little bit. Leipzig getting to the final again before Inter coming through and winning a league, which I guess means the Italian league has had a bit of a resurgence as well. I'm not sure how we look at the leagues to see which ones are the biggest leagues. Is it on here somewhere? There you go, competition reputation. So Premier League is the best league, then Spain, then France, then Germany, then Italy. So the French league is now got a higher reputation than Germany or Italy, interestingly. What other competitions could we have a look at? World Cup. who's been winning the World Cup then in this world. So, past winners, Mexico won the 2018 World Cup, then Brazil, then Italy, and I guess there's a World Cup going on this summer, which I guess won't have started yet, no. So there is a World Cup going on right now. So there you go in your own saves. If you fancy managing in the World Cup, that's another option you've got as well. You can go and take England or whoever you want and see if you can win the 2030 World Cup. Oh, there's all sorts of little things that you can send me. You don't have to just go and manage Arsenal or Leicester. So European Championship past winners. We've got Spain, then Italy, then France. That was hosted in England. Euro 2028. 13 host nations for 2020. I still don't really understand what that's about, or unless that's going to be how they do it from now on, but clearly Football Manager thinks that's not the case. And we'll just have a quick look around all the other major leagues as well, just to see who's been winning those. I think I've got all of them loaded, so let's have a look at La Liga to see who's been winning La Liga. So Barcelona have won it this year. I imagine we've got some Barcelona dominance here. So Real, Atletico, Barcelona, Atletico, Real, Atletico, Real, Atletico, Real, Real, Barcelona, Barcelona, Barcelona. So actually, not necessarily a period of Barcelona dominance, because they've gone nearly 10 years there without winning La Liga. Probably they're the 10 recovery years after Messi retired. So that's La Liga. Ligue 1 over in France. I always sound like I'm mocking them when I try and say un. That's just me trying to say it right. Paris Saint-Germain, Monaco, Paris Saint-Germain, Monaco, Paris Saint-Germain. They're the only two teams in it, although Marseille have snuck up and had a second place. For the first time in 13 years, a team other than Paris Saint-Germain and Monaco finished in the top two over in France. Lyon have consistently been your third place. It's basically Lyon and Marseille are your third team, not getting in there as well for 1 year. Bundesliga, let's have a little look at them, and then we'll look at Serie A as well. I think they're the only ones I've got loaded. So Bundesliga, Leverkusen have won it this year. So we had the expected period of Bayern Munich dominance, but then Leverkusen got in there, and they've kind of stayed involved because they've won it 3 times in a row now. Bayern again, Leipzig, Bayern, Leipzig, and then Leverkusen. So Leverkusen are having a fantastic period under Christian Herrera. Quite surprising to see them winning the league every year. And then lastly, Serie A. Look at the history. What do you know? Juventus have won the league a lot. Napoli got in and won it once. Milan had 3 years of winning it, but then it's back to Juventus dominance again. And Milan seem to have fallen by the wayside a little bit. I think that is everything I could possibly show you. If there's stuff that I've missed out, let me know down in the comments. I could always do another one of these in a week or two's time. I am going to release the database as well, so if you want to nose through it yourself, the link to that is down in the description. And if you do something really cool in this database, make sure you send it through to me on Twitter or Facebook. All the links for all those are down in the description as well, and there's lots of fun stuff that you could go and get your teeth stuck into in this league, even if you just go and do an expedition of gold with Arsenal or something. Anything like that would be fun. Can you have an unbeaten season like we did with Tottenham last year? All manner of things you can get involved in. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.